Yo, what is going on, guys? We are back today for the most popular series on the channel, the monthly tier list update. Now, this one is coming in at the last possible minute, the final day of July. I apologize for this one being so tardy. I'm going to try for the August one to be out like around the 20th at least, if not before that. And then, so on the next tier list, we'll have Maker and High Evolutionary, but on this one, we'll be focusing on Karolina and Nico as the latest additions, and then just some big changes overall to the tier list. And to the highest tier, I've decided to increase it from 3 champions to 5 champions. And I've been thinking about wanting to do that for a while, but I wanted to wait until I made my top 5 ranking series in each class before I did something like that. Now that I've done that, I'm like, yeah, alright, let's do it. And there's just like a lot more champions that I am, especially champions that have come out this year, that I've gotten a lot more playtime with, and I'm more confident in knowing where to rank them now. So that's also why I decided to increase it more. But yeah, so just before we get into everything, some more of the bog standard disclaimers for all these tier lists. Quickly, let's also go over all the emojis. So the little recycle sign just means a champion has been reworked or buffed. Up arrows promotion, down arrows demotion. The new icons, new entry for any brand new additions to the tier list. And then we have these emojis here. The mechanical arm flexing means they want to be awakened. Low sig's fine, they just want to be awakened. The shields, and more shields, the higher of a defensive threat that champion is. Little graph going up means they want to be at a higher sig level. So not only do they want to be awakened, they want to be 100, 150, 160 plus sigs high, And then we have the Ninja Cat here. This means these champions require some skill to play. You can't just pick them up and immediately have them master. They take some time, little nuances to learn. Here, the Stone Guy's powerful relic. Every champion in the game benefits from having a relic, but some champions just have some really special interactions with them, like the Ant-Man relic and Spider-Ham or Spider-Woman, with the power stings. Their little skull means they're ouchies friendly, recoils. And then we have the lock. This is the champion's 5-6 star locked, rarity locked, not available as a 7-star. And then just the final thing, of course, is that this tier list is primarily my opinion, and then secondarily your guys' opinion via the comments, and we make updates and changes every single month based on your guys' feedback. I just went through and read all of the comments on this last one here. You can see there was quite a few. So always read the comments, always make changes based off those comments going forward, and take this list as what it's meant to be, and it's not meant to be the Holy Bible of MCOC. All it's meant to be is a rough guide to help you on your journey throughout the battle realm, whether you have a rank up decision or maybe a Crystal Nexus choice. This is supposed to give you a little bit of help here and there, or when a new champ comes out, you can kind of hear what I think about them. That's the point of this. And things change month to month. The game changes. Maybe the way I look at champions changes. Maybe the meta changes. Things change over time. That's just the way this game is. All right, with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the Alright guys, so I'm trying something brand new with Karolina Dean here. So I've been going back and forth on where to actually put her, whether she belongs in the God tier for a debuting spot or the Beyonder tier S+. So personally, I have not had the most practice with Karolina. I've had a lot more, and I know a lot more about Nico. And I've seen her more because she's the 6-star version of her is in a lot of decks, whereas Karolina I don't really see too much. If I did see Karolina in Battlegrounds, I would definitely be a little bit scared. If I could afford to ban her, I probably would. But yeah, so I'm really gonna need your guys' help on this ranking. So drop a comment, God tier or Beyonder tier. Where do you think Karolina should land? Right now she's in both tiers. Like I said, I've never done this before, but I've stretched her out in between both. So she's in both of them right now. 1 foot in the door and outside the door, or 1 foot inside of each tier door. I don't know. That's a bad analogy, but yeah, that's where she's landing. So Karolina is very good. She has a her core mechanic, and I really like, is the sun. Now, I'm a really big fan of One Piece, and there's a lot of sun-based elements in that show. So I really love, actually, this whole design around staying in the sun and powering up. It also kind of reminds me a little bit of like Superman, which is cool too. But yeah, man, she seems like a really great attacker. I've seen her be very good against like Arnim Zola. I think I saw her assigned to a Sentinel War boss for us one war. Just like the people that have pulled Nico and Karolina, like they're getting to use them all over the contest. You know, they've been performing quite well, which is why, you know, I can totally see Karolina being in the S+, but I'm just not completely convinced. So I need your guys' help to convince me on that one. And you know, she is also a decent defender on her official spotlight. She's a 3 out of 5 defender strength, so I think she could definitely cause some problems on that front. So a bit of a dual threat as well, which I do like. So yeah, that's Karolina landing for us in between those two tiers. And then again, first time ever doing that. Let me know what you guys think about that. You know, I might use it again in the future if I'm just kind of like unsure, especially on a brand new champ where they should land. Maybe I'll stretch them into 2 tiers. All right, moving on, we have the Mystic baddie, and that is Nico Minoru. And there's no doubt about this one at all, bro. She's landing in the one above all tier. I think Nico is easily top 3 champs so far this year. Actually, top 5 guaranteed. Top 3 could be debatable and arguable, but top 5 without a shadow, it's undisputable. You cannot dispute that Nico is not a top 5 champion of 2025, simply because she counters the 3 biggest cosmic beefcakes in the game, you know, which is Thanos, Serpent, and now Dark Phoenix. She can literally just turn off all 3 of those champions. It's pretty insane. Like I said a little bit earlier, like, people are using the 6-star version in their deck, pushing for the Battle Realm Brawl to qualify. People in C4 have her in their deck. A 6-star. That is how powerful of a champion she is, bro. That a 6-star is in the pinnacle of decks right now. Like, just take that in. That is insane. That is such an insane feat for a brand new champion to have. The 6-star is getting that much play. And not only is the 6-star getting play on offense, she's also getting play on defense because Nico is a great defender, and I totally forgot to give her the shield icon. I'm gonna give her 2. She's a pretty annoying defender, dude. She is a pretty annoying defender, and what? Oh, I don't think I gave Karolina icons either. I kind of forgot about doing that. But let's go take a gander at Nico and see on Khonshu here. See that awakened ability real quick. Yeah, she definitely wants to be awake. Nah, that sounds nasty. Yeah, definitely wants that dupe. Probably wants to be higher sig too, but I think for now we'll just say she wants to be awakened. She is. I was debating giving her the Ninja Cat. She does take a little bit of skill to play with her adrenaline mechanic. She kind of consumes health with her heavy, and then you turns it into adrenaline though, and then you can get it back. It's kind of weird. But yeah, man, she's just such an insane dual threat. It's crazy. It's crazy. So, and you know what else she brought to the game, which was what the entire sole reason that we thought, you know, Clairvoyant was blacklisted from becoming a 7-star, especially when the whole vote thing was going on when the Titan Crystal first started. Basically, if you're unaware, there was a vote to who to put in the champions. Us as a community, we got to decide, and Black Widow Clairvoyant was on the vote originally. She was winning, and then Kabam's like, oh crap, no, we take that back. You guys can't have Claire. She's too powerful. They didn't say why, but one would assume it's because buff immunity. And I mean, Serpent came out a little bit later, so I think that's a pretty goddamn fair assumption to make. Because Serpent is insane and they didn't want to rebalance him. So why would they release a champion that can just turn him off, you know? They didn't then, but now they can. And that's Nico. She has, you know, buff immunity. And not only does she have it, like, on her special too, like, you know, Black Widow Clairvoyant does, which is, you know, super powerful. And she does have that, but also she has it as a pre-fight. And also, this pre-fight works on defense. So when you're fighting her, like, you start out buff immune, and if you would gain a buff, oh, guess what? You get poisoned. That's super fun and interactive, right? It's, man, it is There's other pre-fights here as well. The only bad thing about the pre-fights is they can only be used once per quest. I do believe. You cannot use it again in a quest. But, you know, in like Battlegrounds, don't matter. The quest is that one fight. So, you know, but still, you just have to be a little bit smart with using them. But, yeah, Nico, just overall, easily one of the most powerful champions released this year. Just such an insane Mystic. I would say the Mystic class, in my eyes, is one of the weakest classes in the game. And I think it was the weakest right before Nico came out. Then she came out, and, like, she's the savior of the Mystic class. I think the Mystic class still needs more help, but Nico's kind of just put the Mystic class on her back, dude. Like, seriously, it's pretty insane how powerful of a champion she is, man. It's honestly ridiculous. Honestly, I think she's overtuned for sure, man. Absolutely, for sure. Like similar to Serpent, and you know the same person that made Serpent also made Nico. Yeah, just very, very highly tuned champions. It's pretty insane. Like it's so crazy when a champion like just comes out, and like I've played them for an hour and I already know like, okay, this champion is going to be at the top of the class already. Like when I can figure that out, like day one immediately, the champion's probably overtuned. Like you know, it's pretty crazy. And yeah, if the 6-star is index for the brawl push right now, like yeah, that's the definition of overtuned champion. I mean, you can't really argue with that. But that's Nico landing in the highest tier without a shadow of a doubt. This is undisputable. No amount of comments is going to change this ranking. This is not changing because I know this is where she belongs on the list. All right, those are our brand new champions added. All right, now let's go through some big promotions that we have because the one above all tier has been expanded and there is a lot to talk about on the higher end of this list. Alright guys, onto the class rankings now. We're starting with the science class. So we have 3 promotions from the solid tier to the amazing tier, with starting with Sandman, and then we have Anti-Venom. You know, so Sandman got promoted because he's definitely not the fastest of champions, but you know, his utility is great, and when you can bring that utility, it definitely shines. And then Anti-Venom here, I've been cooking with Anti-Venom, and I even am actually running the 6-star in my current Battlegrounds deck. He's very good for heal reversal, and honestly, Anti-Venom's been pretty underrated. I've been sleeping on him for sure. Plus, he's now going to be getting a buff in August with the Rebirth event, so he should hopefully only be getting better, so maybe he'll even jump another tier in the next month. And then we have Mr. Fantastic. So the sole reason for this buff is basically the 7-star juice. Now he's going to be a 7-star. He's just going to be a lot better, and he is our current Saga Chase. So solid to amazing tier. And then one more lower level promotion here. Leader going from amazing tier to the God tier. So first and foremost, I've been seeing some good stuff from Leader from my alliance mate, B McG. He's a big fan of Leader, and he's been making some good Leader content. But, you know, more specifically, Leader currently, for this current Battlegrounds meta, is one of the best attackers. Basically an auto draft. People literally have been tailoring their decks to have champions specifically that Leader cannot take, like Sasquatch, because Sasquatch can't have his healing reversed. It's just an example. So Leader is like crazy. So anytime there's a regen meta, Leader immediately becomes, you know, one of the absolute best options. And you know, I like to think of Leader as like a discount Count Nefaria. Count Nefaria can just do so much more. But Leader can definitely do blocking, healing, heal reversing, and blocking power gain. I would say as good, if not even better than Count Nefaria, but it's less automatic. It's like driving a manual car instead of an automatic car, you know, with Count Nefaria versus Leader. When you're driving an automatic car with Count Nefaria, you're cruising, you're just chilling, you're just driving, and you don't gotta worry, you know. But with Leader, you need, as you're driving, you need to specifically be doing things. You know, it's not just automatic. You gotta manually counter those types of things. So there's a big reason why Count Nefaria is all the way up here and Leader's down here, but Leader can still definitely do some good stuff, so I think he deserves this promotion. And then, all right, let's talk about something real quick. So Spider-Woman, I recently added another shield to her because she is an insane defender, without a shadow of a doubt. You know, it's funny, I was looking, just finished reading the comments on the last tier list, and there's a couple comments saying Spider-Woman did not deserve to be up here, and there was comments like firing back saying yes she does, like not even from me, just from you guys as well. And that was the other list came out over a month ago, so now that Spider-Woman has been out for over a month, I think people are starting to come around and starting to see just how powerful she is. I think I was definitely ahead of the game with that promotion, and just how I rate Spider-Woman. I think this, if you guys have been watching any of my streams or any of other people's streams playing in the Gladiator circuit, you've probably seen Spider-Woman placed on defense, or if you've been playing yourself, she is easily one of the best defenders in this meta. She's just so crazy. And that's also why, I went so nuts to try to get a Okoye, because I knew Spider-Woman was going to be such a meta threat. And Okoye is one of the best counters. But if you don't have a Okoye, you're kind of in trouble. And, even a champion like Crossbones, who's one of the best Spider-Woman counters, on my you can if you don't believe me, go look at my streams. I think it was like my first or second Battlegrounds stream that I was doing when the meta changed. I had, in the same stream, I had two different people die to my Spider-Woman using Crossbones. Because that is how crazy, even with a counter, bro, Spider-Woman is just an animal on defense. What makes her so crazy on defense? Inequity. The debuffs really slow you down. And then, the more debuffs on you, the higher chance for Spider-Woman to evade. Then the biggest thing is her ensnare debuff that she applies. That is going to lower your ability accuracy. And essentially, she's like Domino, just turning off your abilities. Your stuff is not working. It's just insane, dude. Like, I've fought Spider-Woman so many times this meta, and I've used like the exact same champions, played exactly the same, and just had such varying results because the ensnare can just turn stuff off and completely change the way the fight works. Like, it's crazy. And again, for like Crossbones, if he doesn't shrug that ensnare, then you can have a bunch of Furies and she can still evade you even. Like, it's wild, dude. So on defense, she's insane. On offense, she's still so nuts. Of course, her being a good attacker is what originally caught my attention, being the best enchantress counter in the game. Like Spider-Woman, man, she's just so crazy. I absolutely think she's the best science champion in the game. I said that on my top 5 video. I still stand by it. And I think we just need more time. I think the community just needs more time to come around to Spider-Woman. That's gonna happen, and that's exactly what actually happened with Torch. When Torch came out, dude, people said he sucked. People said he was mid because he couldn't take Realm of Legends Winter Soldier that fast, even with his pre-fight. Well, Realm of Legends Winter Soldier doesn't have any energy damage, so that's not a good match for Torch, plus class disadvantage, But when Torch came out, everyone thought he sucked. Seriously, I'm not kidding. I was one of the few people in the community saying, no, Torch is God tier. And I made so many videos, and people got so sick, they're like, Legacy, if you keep making Torch videos, we're unsubscribing. And people in the comments would tell me, Legacy, Torch is not God tier. But I didn't care, dude, because I knew how powerful the champion was, and I stood by what I thought. And then Necropolis came out. And then everyone started using Human Torch Necropolis and realizing how good he is in long-form content because his smolders can get so high and his damage can get so insane. And ever since, no one has ever questioned Torch being God tier. But again, sometimes a champion comes out and people just don't see that full potential right away, and they get heavily discounted. Same thing happened with Corvus Glaive. Everyone thought Corvus Glaive sucked when he came out, and then he ended up being the best champion in the game a month later. That's the way the game can be. So I think Spider-Woman's getting a little bit of that underratedness already, which is actually crazy because she is so powerful. But I think she just needs more time. But yeah, man, Torch has now been unlocked. Unfortunately, the way of his acquisition was just terrible, and Kabam could not have really handled it worse. They wanted to milk us. July weekend was coming out, and they decided they weren't going to give out a crazy amount of rank 4s. They're going to give out a lot of rank 4s, but not as much as a lot of people were expecting. So what are they going to do to make money instead? They're going to release a super OP old God tier champion. Human Torch, call it the Heatwave event, build a whole Fantastic Four saga around it, time it with the movie release. It's a genius marketing strategy on Kabam's part to make a lot of money, for sure. But they completely dropped the ball with the Wheel of Fate interaction. Torch being in there, them saying you can select any of the defenders, and then Torch not being in there. I think Torch really should have been available free to play. He should not have been paywalled. like, I don't care if you want to start with the Heatwave event and sell him, but the Wheel of Fate should have come out after that, and they should have had Torch in there. 100%, you know, go ahead and milk everyone first, get them to buy Torch, and then after, release the content and let everyone else get it for free if they want to put in the work. And it's not like it's free. Like, Wheel of Fate is crazy restrictive type of content. So, like, it would have been fine. And, like, it maybe would have been a bit slimy if they didn't say anything. They just released, you know, the Heatwave event, sold them, and then put them in content after for the free to play. But I would much rather that than what they did with him just being paywalled and baiting us, you know, on the Wheel of Fate day one. So, like, I don't think they could have, like, it could have handled it any worse. But all that is, putting all that aside, Human Torch is one of my favorite champions overall in the game, and I'm really glad that I have him. I'm really glad that I got him and took him up to rank 4. I've been having a lot of fun with him, and, you know, at the end of the day, it's a game we're playing, and you want to be having fun. So I'm really glad that I have Torch on my roster. I don't like how I had to get him. I would have loved to just pick him from Wheel of Fate, dude. Like, I actually enjoyed that content, but yeah, Kabam dropped the ball. But again, all that aside, Human Torch, I think he absolutely deserves to be in this tier. I think he is still super relevant. He's able to counter, like, Zola. He's able to counter Deathless Thanos, which was one of actually the two biggest reasons why I took him to rank 4, because I thought my deck needed more Zola and Thanos counters, so I took Torch up. And he's been doing pretty good on those matchups. I even used Torch in Alliance War against Zola, and he absolutely cooked that. And it was actually my idea for the assignment, which was really cool. So yeah, man, Torch, he's absolutely relevant. 7-star, absolutely deserves to be in this tier. And then we have Spider-Ham here as well. He's back. I absolutely think Spider-Woman is a much better version of Spider-Ham. More utility, being poison immune, neutralize immune, one of the power immunities too. That's really nice. I think she is a way better defender than Spider-Ham. It's not even close. Like, it's not close at all. Spider-Ham, he's very easy to fight if you understand how he works. You just throw your special one immediately, and he'll never gain his charges. He'll never evade you. You never have to worry about anything. Spider-Woman, it's not that simple. It is not that simple, brother. So, yeah. Titania. Oh, yeah, there's one other thing we got to talk about. So, Silk, Titania and Silk both got nerfed, technically speaking. So Silk, there was the stupidest thing ever in this game, Silk Lock. I'm sure a lot of you guys know what that is. If you don't know what it is, essentially, Silk was able to just keep attacking opponents, basically, in the corner. And even when they're at 3 bars, she just keeps attacking and like stand up, intercepting them. And basically, they would never throw a special. Like, this would work against serpents. Silk Lock serpents. Like, it was the stupidest thing ever. So thank you, Kabam Jesus, for finally patching that BS, man. So that got patched. That got nerfed. No more Silk Locks. Haha. Love it. Forget Silk. Maybe we should demote her now that Silk Lock's gone. I'm just kidding. Just a joke. Relax. But unfortunately, a side effect from the Silk Lock patch has been inadvertent nerf to Titania. And, you know, Titania was already inconsistent with her Intimidate working, and now it's even less effective, and like the moment they get 3 bars, they throw it. The Intimidate doesn't matter with Titania now. So yeah, she's even worse now, so that sucks. So that's part of the reason why she's not up here. I think these are the 5 best science champions in the game right now at 7 stars without a shadow of a doubt. The only way this would change is if, like, Scorpion got unlocked, or Quake, but that's not happening with Quake. But if Scorpion got unlocked, he would 100% be in here. Just have to figure out who to take out. Probably be Ham. Scorpion, I think, is definitely better than Spider-Ham. Yeah, again, so much more utility. Yeah. But that is our science class, looking really good. Alright, let's move on to the cosmic class. So, not too many changes here. You know, there's still 2 open spots in the cosmic, one above all tier. And again, that's just what makes Nico so busted. The 3 champions in the highest tier here are hard countered by Nico. Like, a little ridiculous. But yeah, so we had 2 promotions here from the gods here. And so, you know, another thing was that I saw some comments saying I'm biased on this tier list, you know, and I'm trying not to be. I really try not to be, and that's when a ranking like this happening at the same time, I think, kind of proves my point. So first we have Gallon, one of my favorite champions You know, he was my outro for the longest time. Love Gallon, my first ever ranked 5-6 star. Then we have Gladiator, a champ that I just hate to play. I absolutely despise his playstyle. It's terrible. I never want to play him. I just hate the way he's designed. It's just not my cup of tea. So we have a champ that I really don't like, really highly rate. Then we have a champ that I love, both being promoted at the same time. I don't know. I don't really think that kind of eliminates the bias, but whatever. But yeah, man, Gladiator, saw a lot of your guys, and the reason both these guys got promoted was just your guys' comments. Once again, your guys' comments is why we're doing these promotions. There's a lot of comments about Gladiator, and you know he is a Zola counter, which is good. I've been seeing him a lot more, and he's been running him. And you know it's really Karate Mike, like these triple Ninja Cats here. This is like, for him to be in this tier, you need to be playing him at his peak level, you know, like Karate Mike level of Gladiator action. And if you can play him like that, he absolutely deserves to be here. Does he deserve to be any higher? Absolutely not. Gladiator he cannot go higher than this, simply because he's not really a defender. You know, if you take a look at these three champions and compare them to Gladiator, the defensive threat is easily what separates them. So I would never put Gladiator higher, but this is a great spot for him. Very high praise. And again, due to your guys' comments. And then Gallon, you know, there's comments about him too. He is a 7-star now. He's been performing pretty well. It's great with Gallon, you know, you build a certain harvest and you have that guaranteed damage amount. But the big thing with Gallon, you know, he's a cosmic champion that is immune to nullify. That's so badass, dude. That's amazing. Plus a bunch of other immunities to the power control stuff. So yeah, that is our 2Gs, Gallon and Gladiator, being promoted from the God tier. Alright, let's move on to the Mystic Class. So the Mystic Class, bro, not really any changes here. You know, Nico, the biggest thing, just kind of carrying the Mystic Class on her back. I saw like 1 or 2 comments about Spiral. Personally, I find Spiral, like, she's amazing for Serpent, pretty good for Dark Phoenix, but I feel like the moment I'm outside of those 2 matchups, she just does not feel very good. Like if we're ranking Spiral based on how she can fight Serpent, sure, she'd be in this tier. But we're not. We're ranking her on how she fights every champ in the game, including her meta matchups. You know, I just really don't think she deserves this tier. Whereas like Shothra, you know, can just take so many different matchups very well. I don't know. I just feel like Shothra has a much bigger matchup spread than Spiral does. Spiral is a bit of a defender though. But still, just compared to all these other champs, again, outside of those 2 matchups, like, I just don't see Spiral competing with these champs here. So I decided to not promote her yet, at least. There's still a chance. And so we now have 1 open space in the 1 above all tier for the Mystics. And I'm pretty content to just leave it wide open, personally. You know, if Dr. Doom, Magic, or Absorbing Man, if any of these champions were unlocked as a 7-star, they would 1,000,000% be in here immediately. Magic is getting, you know, the Radiance rework, so I don't know what she's gonna look like. Her abilities might be different, you know, after that happens. Hopefully they don't butcher Magic. You know, Chavez was up here before. I personally don't think she deserves to be up here. I could maybe be convinced, but yeah, I don't know. I'm very content to just leave it open for the time being. But you guys let me know. You guys let me know who you think deserves that spot the most. Purgatory, Shothra, Chavez, Rintra, Enchantress. Alright, but that is our Mystic Class. Not too much going on there. Alright, let's move on to Mutant. I'm really excited to talk about Mutant. So, we got the Gentle Giant being promoted from God tier. So you guys were really talking about this one, and I'm starting to come around now on Gentle. I did take him up to rank 3, been messing around with him, and I like him. I definitely like him. He's pretty good on defense too. He's actually very good on defense, man. He's very annoying. Honestly, it might even give him another shield. I think I will, actually. You can be very annoying on defense, dude. So, and on offense, you know, he is really solid. Bullseye counter. He's a pretty decent Yelena counter. Does have access to the Daunted effects as well. So yeah, Gentle's growing on me. I think he definitely deserves to be in this tier. I don't think he's like the craziest 2025 champ that we've gotten. I think he's definitely on the lower end of things, but still phenomenal. Still great. But like, then you compare him to Jean Grey, and man, holy fudge. Jean Grey is so good. I've been wanting to do this promotion for like the last 1 to 2 tier lists, and I just wasn't completely convinced. But now in the last month, you know, I've gotten Jean, taken her up to rank 4, and played her a lot, and I have really fallen in love with her as a champion. And I think she is just very beautifully designed. So Jean Grey was actually designed and made by the same person that made Nico and Serpent and Deathless Thanos. So, but I think Jean Grey, in comparison to Nico and Serpent, I don't think Jean Grey is overtuned. I think she is definitely powerful and on the powerful end of things, but I don't feel like she crosses that line of being overtuned. She has a very beautifully designed defensive kit, again, opposed to Serpent, opposed to Dark Phoenix, these champions that are just so counter required. If you don't have one of 5 counters, you're gonna die. You know, with Jean Grey, you can literally fight her with any champion in the game, and it's up to you. It's up to your skill set to deal with her. You know, she doesn't have anything that is required of any champion. You know, sure, it might not be the fastest fight, but technically, like, any champion can fight Jean Grey. You just have to deal with the inverted controls. I really like that. I really like champions that are just, it's not counter-based, it's skill-based, you know. Of course, bringing in, like, a Jack-o'-lantern, you're going to have a much better time bringing in a good counter. But I just like that it's not hard counter required. That's what I really like. And she's a great defender, you know, and even if someone has a counter, for example, Human Torch is a great counter, but in Battlegrounds, like, it's not just a super fast fight, because Jean Grey also applies debuffs to the opponent, which uses the Inequity Master, so that's going to slow them down a little bit. And then, you know, the inverted controls. There's always a chance to screw up with inverted controls, especially if you're using a champ that's not immune, like Human Torch, who's a counter but not immune to that, so you still have to play with that, you know. I really like Jean, man. As a defender, I think she's just pretty perfect, and then as an attacker, man, having that force field shield is so nice, especially in a battleground setting. You know, if you slip up, you lose that shield. Well, all right, that's okay. It protected you from that slip up, and you still have, like, basically full health. It's really nice. She's a, you know, really great Yelena counter. It can take a little bit of skill. It's not like automatic, but she's definitely a really great Yelena counter. One of the best for sure. Top 5 without a doubt. Yeah, I really like Jean. I really like her, man. As far as, like, I think Onslaught's still, without a doubt, the best mutants. But honestly, I think there could be a debate. Who's better, Sinister or Jean? I'm not going to say one way right now. It's debatable. I don't think there even is a right answer at this moment in time. But the fact that it's debatable absolutely means Jean deserves to be up here. But you might be wondering, like, why not Dazzler? Like, why does Jean deserve to be up here and not Dazzler? And it's very simple. Simply put, Jean has a big defensive threat, and Dazzler doesn't have any. She does have a little bit, but it's very minuscule compared to Onslaught, Sinister, Jean Grey. Like, the defensive threat is not even worth putting a shield icon there. You know, she's primarily an attacker, which is, you know, not a bad thing. She's a great attacker and chilling in this class, or sorry, in this tier. But yeah, I think Jean Grey is 1,000,000% better than Dazzler. I think on attack, I would still prefer Jean Grey. I think Dazzler's definitely the better bullseye counter, but, like, outside of that one matchup, I don't really think she has anything else on Jean. And Jean can still do bullseye. But this is what I mean about Jean not being, like, overtuned. You know, if Jean had, like, a pursuit passive that she could get, for example, allowing her to just bypass bullseye too, then maybe that's a little much. But she doesn't have that. She can take bullseye with her passive stun. She can kind of make it work, but it takes some skill, which I like. So yeah, man, that's Jean Grey. I think she absolutely deserves to be in this tier. Really, this was one of, like, my favorite promotions that I did on this latest round. So yeah, that is our mutant class. Let us move on to tech. We got some interesting stuff to talk about in the tech class. So it's really just on the higher end here. Yeah, no real changes down here. So I did it, guys. There was a ton. I actually did it before I even read the comments. I think I promoted both these champions before I even read the comments. But there was a lot a lot of comments about Bastion, and I could not agree more. I think Bastion, again, contender for top 5 best champions released so far this year. Bastion is so incredible, dude. I have fully come around on the Bastion hype train. I am on board, bro. Choo choo. He's crazy. He just destroys Onslaught first and foremost, which is awesome. Just destroying Onslaught, yeah, that's nice. He's really great for Sinister too. He's pretty good for Jean Grey. Like, so he's just gonna counter the top mutants. You know, he can definitely do Dominant to you. He's gonna take a little crit field damage, but he's gonna do it pretty well. He's gonna take Gentle. He's gonna take like all the mutants other than Havoc. He's gonna destroy like every mutant. And then outside of those mutant matchups, he's still an animal, and he can still just keep doing more. So Bullseye, he's a phenomenal Bullseye counter. He is a phenomenal Alliance War champion, like just the GOAT for Hazard Shift. He doesn't have a ton of Hazard Shift immunities, but he has something in his kit that can basically protect him from triggering the Hazard Shift debuffs from applying on him. I got some more videos with him coming soon, fighting Bullseye like on Hazard Shift, Incinerate, and Shock, which he's immune to neither of those. And he's doing it. Like, dude, he's so good. Bastion is so good. Plus, he can also fight a champion like Arnim Zola, for example. Arnim Zola, the big thing with him is it's really hard to parry him. It's really hard to get off heavy attacks. It's really hard to heavy counter him. Bastion can parry non-contact attacks. So he can parry Zola and heavy him easily. Dude, Bastion, he can just do so much. It's crazy. Without a doubt, Bastion deserves to be up here. But then, we also decided, speaking of Arnim Zola, we also promoted him. So I think Zola, I think we actually need to absolutely give Zola another shield icon, because that is one of the big reasons he's up here. He is a phenomenal defender. He's, I would say definitely definitely more counter required than Jean Grey, for example, but like not too much more. Like I'd say here's Jean Grey, here's Zola, here's like Serpent Dark Phoenix, like really, really requiring like a specific hard counter. Whereas Zola, like, again, with Zola, you can take Zola technically with anyone if you have skill, if you can get those heavy attacks off, if you can get his charges down, like it's possible. Again, I much prefer those types of defenders where even if I'm going into the fight with like an unideal counter, if I play really well, I can make it work. I like that because then my skill can kind of get me out of a bad situation. Whereas if skill doesn't matter and it's just a counter required fight, it's like I don't like that. It's like I don't know. So I think Zola is, again, a very, very well designed defender. Definitely on the higher end of things, but he's reasonable, and I'm finding new counters to him, like Human Torch, a pretty good counter. My guy Spot, phenomenal counter. I cooked a big bad Zola boss with Spot, man. One of my favorite war fights I've ever done. I really like Zola, and that's just him as a defender. As an attacker, bro, he can cook. He can do some matchups. Zola can absolutely take Enchantress pretty well because she can just lock her special 1. And she doesn't have access to her special 2 right away until she's thrown some special 1. So basically, she can only throw 3 bars of power. And you can kind of kill her before that you even have to deal with that. So he can counter Enchantress pretty well. He can actually counter Onslaught. I've seen Zerafa take my Onslaught with him, which has really surprised me. I've seen Zola counter Sinisters pretty well. Actually, I know what else Zola needs. He also needs a Ninja Cat, because Zola definitely takes some skill to play, dude. To line everything up, absolutely requires skill to play him. So, yeah, and on offense, Zola does want to be higher Sig. I had someone questioning why Bastion had this too. Bastion, the higher the Sig he goes, just the more potent his Furies. But honestly, it is, I might just give Bastion just the wants to be awakened instead of wants to be high Sig. I don't think he really needs the high Sig. So yeah, maybe let's just change it. Having a hell of a time. There we go. Like, it's not a bad idea to give Bastion, more Sigs, but I think, yeah, it's just important just to be awakened. That's really the big deal. Because you get a nice amount of a Fury potency, just at like Sig 20. But Zola for attack. For defense, doesn't really matter. Undupe's fine, but if you're going to be using him on attack, the higher the sig, the better, for sure, on Mr. Arnim Zola. So that is our tech class, looking really good. Future Ant-Man, Sentinel, Bashy, and Zola. But that does leave us with one open spot in this one above all tier. I really think all 4 of these champions deserve it. I think Future Ant-Man and Sentinel... Future Ant-Man, just overall, the best well-rounded tech champion in the game. I think Sentinel, one of the best dual threats. Slow, but reliable, and extremely sturdy. Like, Sentinel's so sturdy. And then Bastion, I think he's the best pure tech attacker out of these 4 for sure. Like, he just can do so much on offense. He doesn't really have any defensive potential, but on offense, man, he just shines. His offensive potential makes up for it. And then there's Zola, who's, you know, just the big bad defender who can still do some cool and niche things on attack. But then that leaves us with one spot. And man, like Stark Spidey, Red Skull, Ironheart, Prowler, Shuri, Jack, Guardian. There could be arguments for almost any one of these champs. I don't know. So let me know what you guys think. Who deserves to be in that final spot? There's one spot left, Mystic and Tech. But again, we can also just leave it open for the time being until we get like some crazy new champ or a buff champ or something. Who knows? But yeah, that is Tech. Alright, now last but not least, we have Skill. So there's really only one promotion left to talk about, guys, and this one has been definitely long overdue. So no changes in any of these other lower tiers. I've seen some people say Hitmonkey. Man, I'm not promoting Hitmonkey. He's way too much of a glass cannon. I think he's great in God tier. Like, God tier is a great spot to be in. This is still very high praise. And Beyonder tier is like the cream of the crop, man. Like you got to be really good to get in here. I don't think Hitmonkey is worth it. He's too glass cannony. And then this is just like the absolute pinnacle of the class. And so we got Yelena in the Beyonder tier. I think this is a good spot. I definitely don't think Yelena deserves to go higher. I think this is the perfect spot for her. Yeah, she's been a good defender, but she's absolutely manageable. And, you know, some of her best counters are very popular and already ranked up champions, such as Onslaught. Like, one of the best counters. So, you know, like, that kind of makes her a little bit easier just because people already have those counters ranked, you know? Whereas, like, when Dark Phoenix comes out, like, people don't even know who the counters are, let alone, like, have them ranked already, you know? So... yeah, I think that's holding Yelena back a little bit, but even still, I think she's still a phenomenal defender and still doing a great job. But then we have the promotion, and that's Crossbones. So Crossbones, man, he's probably the best 7-star pure skill attacker overall. It's got to be him or Okoye, for sure. Depends on the exact situation what you need. I would say Crossbones probably overall going to be more reliable and consistent. But I don't know. I don't have Okoye. Still can't get her. Try out. I don't know. But man, Crossbones. Yeah, I have Crossbones. I recently gave him a little bit of Sig Stones too, and I've been practicing again that Spider Woman matchup. And I've been getting it. So I took it. Let me show you. So I have been practicing that matchup. I had a pretty good one against Captain Judah last night. Yeah, you can see this was easily my greatest Crossbones fight ever. This is rank 4 Spider Woman. I've had like a 50k before, but this was just insane, man. Like Crossbones, he definitely requires skill to play. That's why he's got the Ninja Cat emoji, and that's really been my biggest thing with Crossbones. I suck at playing it, but I've been trying to get better. I don't like playing him, but I just gotta get over that, and I have been getting better as you just saw. So, yeah, man, Crossbones, insane again, and this is a rank 3 Crossbones against a rank 4 Spider Woman again, one of the craziest defenders, and it's easy to screw up the matchup. So, yeah, man, Crossbones, he's Chad Bones, he's a god. Andy's really shown me the way with Crossbones, man. He can just do so many ridiculous matchups, so many matchups you would not expect him to take. It doesn't matter if it's short form, medium form, long form. His damage is just unreal. Again, if you play him correctly and don't let those Furies fall off, his damage cap, his damage ceiling is just unreal. So I think Chad Bones absolutely, this was a long overdue one. But yeah, he absolutely deserves it. So there we go. Chad Bones is up. And that's it, guys. That is our July tier list, the last day of July. Again, I apologize for this taking so long to get out. I will try to have the August one out much sooner and not on the last day of the month. Thank you guys for bearing with me. All love and support. You guys are the best. Please drop a comment. Let me know what you think about the tier list. Please give me your feedback. And especially let me know on those last few spots in the highest tier who you think should fill it, or if you think it should just stay vacant for the time being. If you guys are not already subscribed to the channel, I would really appreciate it if you did. We're so close to 120,000 subscribers. I would love to hit that this summer. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. All love and support. Have a great, wonderful day. Peace.